to you by Kellogg's. Kellogg's Cereals. The best to you each morning from Kellogg's of Battle Creek. Now let's all play What's My Line?
And now, live from New York, let's meet our What's My Line panel. First, the popular columnist whose voice of Broadway appears in papers coast to coast, Miss Dorothy Kilgallen.
And now, the marvelously funny Joey Bishop.
You didn't have to be that lengthy, Dorothy. To my left, ladies and gentlemen, the star of the Broadway hit Chin Chin, one of my favorite leading ladies, Arlene Francis.
And now a gentleman who has just returned in the company of his wife and my husband from Deerfield Academy in Massachusetts, where they heard our respective sons raise their voices in song on Spring Day. This is kind of a come-down for him. Here he is, Bennett, Cerf.
It wasn't a come-down, Arlene. They were really great.
No, I mean, this is a come-down.
Oh, this is a come-down.
After the glorious young voices.
Well, here about to raise his voice, not in song, our famous news commentator and panel moderator, John Charles Daly.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear that Bennett is full of the spirit of May, and I trust the rest of you are, because we ought to celebrate, I think. May only comes once a year. The last time I took a look.
So cold up there. You never thought it was May. It was like January.
Well, it's been a beautiful day. I don't know how it is all over the country. We've had a glorious day here in the Northeast, but I must say for May, it's cold weather. But we'll help you warm up, because I've got some good news for you. You're going to be blindfolded immediately, so you can put your blindfolds on right now for some very interesting occupations that will show up in the next half hour. We will also have a famous mystery guest before my friends on the panel a little bit later in the program. And we'll meet our first challenger. And now to meet our first challenger. Are those blindfolds all in place, Pat?
Yes.
I think they gave me the wrong blindfold, John. I think they expected a female panelist here.
It looks very much like you were getting ready for Joey Bishop's show on Saturday night. Where did you get that from? You can't see anything. That's the main thing, right, Joey?
No, I'm not too crazy about your tie, but I can't see you, John.
Okay. Well, our first contestant, enter and sign in, please. All right. You're familiar with our scorekeeping system?
Yes.
In that event, we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right, panel, we can tell you that our guest is salaried and deals in a service. And let's begin the general questioning with Bennett Cerf.
Sir, is it I heard you answer John Daly. I presume that you are a gentleman. Is the reason we're wearing masks because we might recognize you if we didn't have them on?
Possibly.
Would you have, has your picture appeared in the newspapers within the past 2 weeks?
Yes.
Has it appeared in any special section of the newspapers?
Yes.
Are there more than one of you?
Yes.
Would the special section by any chance be the sports section?
No.
1 down and 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you work for a non-profit making organization?
Yes.
You said yes?
Yes.
And they're laughing. Is it any branch of the armed forces?
Yes.
Is it every branch of the armed forces?
Yes.
But do you have something that holds you together as sort of a team interest?
Well, I think here we would have to agree, Dorothy, that there is a condominium here among...
There's a what?
I beg your pardon?
I wouldn't know him if I saw him, John.
No, there is an interest that holds them all together, yes.
Do you have anything to do with our space activities?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Mr. Bishop.
Is this, some... Are there more than 2?
Yes.
Is there a representative of each branch of the service here?
Yes.
Are you distinguished by the fact that perhaps you have received an award that perhaps not many men have received?
No. That's 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Are you all of the same rank?
No.
4 down and 6 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Do you have any present place in some of the work that is being done in the field today, either in the air or on the land or on the sea?
You mean of a particular military nature? Having direct application to new
Having
policies?
something to do with the activities of the armed forces today?
Well, yes, I'd say they're all involved in activities involving the armed forces.
Have you anything to do with teaching of people in the armed forces?
No.
That's 5 down and 5 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you work indoors rather than outdoors?
Sometimes.
Do you have desk jobs ever?
Well, I would say here, Dorothy, to be fair, that we can agree that our guests may certainly be required to spend some portion of their time at a desk because of the necessary commitments to their positions, but that this is not their primary duty.
Do you have anything to do with recruiting?
Yes.
But it's a relationship that isn't the basic relationship again.
Huh?
Do you have anything to do with logistics?
No.
6 down and 4 to go.
Well, if they have anything at all to do with recruiting, I served in 1942, so you can skip me, John. They have to do with recruiting, and yet we are wearing masks because we may recognize them?
You're wearing... We didn't want you to leave abruptly, Joey.
Recruiting, then, is not their primary reason.
Right. That's right.
For being on the show.
That's right.
Were they at any time the faces of these gentlemen on the posters of recruiting?
No.
7 down and
so
3 to
stupid
go.
about that? I thought it was a rather clever question.
I'm going to give you 1 more minute, Miss Francis.
Do you have anything to do with the very young people in America?
Yes.
Do you have anything whatsoever to do with the Boy Scouts of America?
No.
8
Oh, I
down and
picked
2
the
to
wrong
go.
young people. I meant the Peace Corps.
And that,
yeah.
again, would be just something that is really likely to happen as a part of the overall responsibilities. Mr. Cerf.
You have nothing to do directly with West Point or Annapolis or the Marine teaching base Quantico. Is that correct?
Yes, they do not have, no.
Do you, are you wearing uniforms tonight?
Yes.
How do you look?
Have you got anything whatever to do? Excuse me, Albert.
Sure, I'd love to have a...
Have you anything to do at all with the shot that the space shot that we're going to make on Tuesday when we send a man around the world?
No, I'm going to... Joey, you got an idea? Yeah.
I think they're just a couple of guys that went over the hill and want to go back.
Well, when you're speaking of the leaders of the 4 service bands, I don't think we can say that they've been over the hill. You may take off your mask. Colonel George Howard of the United States Air Force and Colonel Hugh Curry of the United States Army and Lieutenant Colonel Albert Schoper of the Marine Corps, and Lieutenant Anthony Mitchell of the United States Navy, the leaders of our great, and I use the word here in all of its fullest meaning, our great service bands in the United States. And actually, and I trust that you four don't mind my doing this, for the first time, I think, now I've known the great service bands. I started in radio with CBS in Washington many, many years ago, over 25, and one of my earliest assignments was to go over to the sail loft in the case of the Navy and over to the Naval Station in Washington and to the Army headquarters and put on the great concerts that we used to put on in radio. And during every week we used to have concerts out of Washington. But I think for the first time, is it not true, that the service bands have made recordings for the commercial market? And they're among really the finest musical organizations in this whole world. And the proceeds of these records that are made and are now commercially available all over the United States will go to the National Cultural Center that's being built in Washington, D.C. And the good news is they sold over 100,000 records already.
Good.
I hope it's 100 million, one for everybody in the country, is the way it should be. May I thank all of you for the panel and for all of us for coming up and visiting with us on Sunday night. That was a tough one, panel.
Did you notice they were out of step when they walked out?
So many more medals than the others.
No, that's just the outfit.
Yeah. And now let's meet our second contestant. Will you enter and sign in, please? Judy Cole. Is that right? Is it Miss or Mrs. Cole?
Mrs.
Mrs. Cole, and where are you from, ma'am?
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne, Indiana. Mrs. Cole, may I present our panel? Now, will you join me over here, please? Do you know how we keep score?
Yes.
Fine. In that event, we'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, we can tell you that Mrs. Cole is self-employed and deals in a service. And let's begin the general questioning with Arlene Francis.
Mrs. Cole, is there anything physical about your work?
I don't think there is.
Well, I think here it's a matter of the terminology as we've applied it over the years on the program. And if with your permission, I'll say yes, that it does require
Physical dexterity.
physical adaptability, dexterity, skills, and so forth.
Mrs. Cole, therefore, do you move around in your job?
In a way.
Do you wear something other than the ordinary dress in your job?
Yes.
Would it be perhaps a little less than you're wearing now?
No.
No, that's 1 down and 9 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mrs. Cole, I spoke in Fort Wayne at the technical college there recently. May I assume you have nothing whatever to do with Indiana Tech?
That's right. I have nothing.
I didn't want to have John playing some trick on me. Mrs. Cole, does the work that you do require some kind of prior training?
I didn't have a prior training.
In other words, it is not necessary to acquire some degree in order to perform the work
No
that
degree,
you're doing.
no.
No.
Would you say that the work that you do is more physical than mental?
Yes, I would say.
Is it work that is often done by a man?
It has been done by a man, yes.
Do you have to belong to a union to do the work
No.
that you do?
No union in this one. That's 2 down and 8 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Do you move up and down as well as around and around?
Yes.
Do you go up and down in something? Is it in?
Yes, do go up and down in something.
In something. Is it something other than an elevator?
Yes.
Is it larger than an elevator?
Yes.
Is it in the airplane family?
Yes.
It's heavier than air vehicle?
Yes.
Is it a plane?
Yes.
You go up in a plane?
Yes.
But you don't just fly it. It's something funnier than that. Huh? Do you do any unusual things when you are in the air?
Yes?
Do you get out on the wing and do stunts?
Yes, I think actually I'm going to put all the cards over, but I think you will agree, Mrs. Cole. Dorothy has basically identified it. Mrs. Cole has a most interesting occupation. She rides on the wings of stunt aeroplanes when they're on their backs, right side out. And one other thing about it is Mrs. Cole performs with the Cole Brothers Air Show. Is that right? And I believe I'm right in this. Your son flies the aeroplane.
That's right.
In
My
which
son
you do
Ron.
your walking upside, downside, and all over the place on the
John,
wing.
that's togetherness.
That's togetherness. And then Mr. Cole is meanwhile doing stunts on another airplane that is up at the air at the same time. So they do get, this is a kind of a togetherness. You go into little extremes, but they have, at least they're alone up there for a while, and you get out of the hurly-burly.
Yes.
Well, it's a wonderfully exciting occupation, and thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
And What's My Line? Thank you. We'll meet tonight's mystery guest in just a moment, but first, here is a word from... Now we come to the special feature of our program, the appearance of our mystery celebrity. And the panel, once again, needless to say, has to be blindfolded. Are those blindfolds all in place?
Yes, John.
How you doing, Joey?
All right, John.
That's a lot of blindfolds.
Any friend of Zorro's is a friend of mine.
All right. Will our mystery challenger enter and sign in, please? Panel, a different form of questioning now. One question at a time, in turn moving clockwise, and we'll begin it with Joey Bishop.
May we assume from your applause that you are in show business?
On peut dire ça, oui.
That's, yes. Miss Francis?
Have you made your name in the motion picture industry?
Comme ci, comme ça.
I would say yes to that, too. Mr. Cerf?
Are you at present appearing in a Broadway show or a Broadway nightclub?
Non, monsieur, you are dead wrong.
That one down at 9 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
I didn't do that things.
What was the answer to that, please?
No.
Besides no. But the rest of it.
I said you are dead wrong.
Are you something other than French? Was that a yes?
Je pense que je suis un homme.
Yes.
Yes. Well.
Mr. Bishop?
Did I appear in front of your brother-in-law just recently at a show?
Ça, c'est difficile, monsieur. J'ai beaucoup de brother-in-law.
Well, in spite of all the brother-in-laws, I know the answer to that, and it's yes, Joey.
It is.
Go ahead, Joe.
Well, it's Freddie Bartholomew who's gotten older. That's all. Peter Lawford.
Peter Lawford is right. I'll explain all the French and English that happened. The Radio and Television Correspondents Association a week ago Saturday had the annual dinner in Washington, and the president was among those who attended. And Joey was the Toastmaster. I guess that's what you would properly be called that night, were you?
Yes, John.
The Toastmaster. And I must say, I was in Washington this week, and I heard that you were the star of the show.
What did Peter do in the show?
He didn't. He just had a brother-in-law who was there.
I was out working.
Who is your brother-in-law again, Peter?
And she said he's got many brothers-in-law. That he does indeed. It's nice to see you here with us again. You were, I was asking this evening when I was told you were coming about you're producing a picture now.
No, we just did produced one called Johnny Cool. Be out around Labor Day.
Oh, it's not out yet. When's it out the next Labor Day? You like producing?
Joey's in that.
Joey, are you in it?
Yes, I got a...
How long? Is this going to take long, Joe?
Well, say, Peter, considering you're from England and your country owes this country money, let me talk.
Well,
I received a call from Peter, and he said he'd like me to play a used car salesman in the picture. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the used car salesman in California, but they actually frighten you into buying a car. They start off with, get off that couch and get down here. It's going to be long. But I saw Peter Lawford with Jimmy Durante and Sonny King at the Latin Casino in Camden. And I drove and parked my car, and I walked out on stage, and I said, oh, I want to apologize. I said, I saw Peter Lawford's name out front. I didn't know it was a show. I thought it was a Democratic rally.
And I used the line every night after you left.
Did you?
Yeah.
and it worked. Well, Peter, thank you very much
Thank
for
you, John.
spending some Sunday evening with us. Nice to have you with us. Well, panel, you've done rather well so far tonight. Congratulations, and we will have another contestant after this word from our alternate sponsor. The final contestant, will you enter and sign in, please? Harvey? Cabinet, sir, right? All right. Harvey, where are you from?
New York City.
From New York City. May I present our panel, Harvey Kamnitzer. Will you join me here, Harvey? You know how we keep score?
Yes, I do.
Fine. We'll let the audience in the theater and the audience at home know exactly what your line is. All right. Panel, we'll tell you that Mr. Kamnitzer is salaried and deals in a service, and we'll begin the general questioning with Dorothy Kilgallen.
Could I use your services?
No.
1 down and 9 to go. Mr. Bishop.
I thought I noticed a college ring on your hand, Harvey. Are you a college graduate?
No.
2 down and 8 to go, Miss Francis.
The ring belongs to a friend. Mr. Kamnitzer, is your service for men rather than women?
No, I'm...
Well, it's hard to say here that probably his direct relationship to his service, yes. At the same time, as one end result of his activities, both sexes would
I see.
find you.
Well, does Mr. Kamnitzer, do you work with your hands in your job?
Yes, I do.
Do you touch people or things when you are working?
Yes.
Do you touch things rather than people?
Yes.
Is there anything mechanical about your work?
No.
3 down and 7 to go, Mr. Cerf.
Mr. Kamnitzer, are there any animals involved in the work that you do?
No. 4 down and 6 to go, Miss Kilgallen.
Well, do these things move around, the ones that you touch?
Do they move around, the things that he touches? Yeah, I think we can say they move around.
But they are not living things and never have been.
That's right.
And you're sure I couldn't have anything to do with you?
Well, I don't think so.
Okay. Are these unpleasant things?
No.
No. 5 down and 5 to go, Mr. Bishop.
Would they, I can go point blank. Would there be something more like in the puppet family?
No.
In the puppet family? No. 6 down and 4 to go, Miss Francis.
Would other people think that perhaps the work you do would be an unpleasant kind of work?
No.
No. 7 down. Next, I'm going to put all the cards that we run. Bennett, you got an idea?
Are these used in sports or games of any kind?
Yes.
Is it a sport?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it a sport that's a seasonal one?
Yes.
Yes.
Being played now?
Yes.
Yes.
Baseball?
Yes. And he is the bat boy for the New York Mets.
We did 13-12.
Oh, good. It's nice to have you with us.
Keep up the good work.
And Harvey has just confirmed to me that the Mets won the second game today, 13-12, and I used up all the time, so I'll say good night for all and thank you for being with us on What's My Line?
What's My Line is a CBS television network production in association with Mark Goodson and Bill Todman. Johnny Olson speaking. Fight mental illness with dollars. Help research find effective treatment for all mental patients. Give to the National Association for Mental Health through your local chapter.